Sup, you've reached Clarissa. I'm out somewhere being da bomb and can't answer. My bad. Leave me your name, number, and a sweet message, and I'll hit you up later. Peace.
Hey, it's Amelia.
And Sherrick.
You told us to call, let you know what we're doing.
Weird, we get your voicemail almost every week at this point.
Oh well, I guess we'll leave you a message about what we're up to and our pop culture thoughts of the week, and hopefully we'll hear back from you soon.
It's like we have a podcast about not being deterred about taking a free bumper sticker, even if we don't have our car nearby right now.
Have you ever put a bumper sticker on a car?
Not once. Not once.
No,
but I've leased the majority of my cars.
I think I've only ever had a window cling because I decided that felt like,
yeah, like
that's
less. Yeah,
I had the Apple sticker on my car once, my first car, and then I had a Transformers, like the Autobot symbol on one once. On two of them actually, I had like a sticker that was on there, and then when I sold that one, I got like a metallic. I think it actually like was like adhesive, and it stuck to my. It's Steff. It's my gold Jetta that
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the
exists,
Transformers was like a permanent sticker, so I guess that's kind of a bumper sticker.
So yeah, but like nothing that
it
like
just wasn't like a dumb phrase or
don't
like
honk at me, I have anxiety or nothing like that. Like,
right? No, I just meant like, did you permanently stick anything to your car ever?
Oh yeah, that I have.
I'm pretty sure I got a bumper sticker from like the Top 40 radio station when I was in junior high or whatever, and put it on my mom's car. I think I did that, but otherwise no. I have magnets on my car, like car specific magnets, but because again I was like, I don't want to stick anything to this, and now I'm like, fuck it, let's put stickers on everything. Because I was actually telling 87 stickers a year at C2E2.
Yeah. I was actually telling Stephanie because unfortunately one of her monitors died, and there was another monitor that I was like, you should get this monitor, and she's like, but it's in white and everything else is in black. I was like, you can put like something on the back and then just cover it in stickers, like.
So I might do that.
Just avoid the the ventilation ports and everything like that, and just because it's like it's only the back and the stand is white. Everything else is like there's like minimal bezels and it looks black from the front, so it's like whatever.
Gotcha.
But I was just like, bruh, just don't let the monitor being white deter you from buying it. Something you almost will never hear from me. But anyway, as you all can surmise at this point in the podcast, my darling Stephanie is joining us for this. But before we get into that, I guess, how's everybody doing? Everybody doing all right? Doing good?
I don't know why I
puts
do
a thumbs
this.
up. Yeah, I don't know.
I do a thumbs up. I do visual shit on this podcast all the fucking time. And then I
make visual jokes and references all the time, regardless of whether people can see it. I'm pretty sure like there have been times where Stephanie will say something and I'll turn to look at a camera that doesn't exist.
Okay, Jim Halpert.
He does that in front of me, yes. It is a very like Jim thing to do. But I get it every time he does it. Like, I understand what it means.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. I like that.
Well, I'll tell you the thing that I went to a midnight release for the Nintendo Switch 2, and nobody fought, and nobody got uppity or mean, and nobody like decided that they were going to try and accost anybody. It was like people like literally, it's like 12:30 at night on a Thursday technically, and this one kid just waltzes out of Best Buy and just stands at the bus stop and waits, and then got on a bus. And I was like, I would be terrified. I just bought like this thing that's like going to be super hard to get, and you just casually walked to the bus stop and was just like, just gonna wait for the bus to pick me up, take me home.
It's a power move.
It really is, because he had to walk all the way across the parking lot to get to the bus stop too. So it's like somebody could have been like lying in wait or something, but no, everybody was chill and respectful. And it's like,
I know. I was a
Sometimes
little worried when you went over there. I was like, I don't know what to think.
I was
Like,
worried
are
too. I was like, I
people
was
gonna,
like,
like-
Steff, give me your pepper spray.
I did. I gave it to him. I gave him 2 safety things to put in his pocket because I was just like, are people just gonna like rush up on you? Like, I don't know.
Did not know.
Everybody's too tired and they're saving their energy to fight ice. So, you know.
I hope so. I mean, it seems more important for sure.
Yep. I was in my friend Whittle Goblin's chat, and I said, I hate ice so much, I don't even put that shit in my drinks.
Oh man.
But hey y'all, what are we here to talk about today? All right, fine, I'll just do it. Okay, so
I mean, I can literally say what we're talking about, but I can't give much context.
I'll just do it. Okay, so roughly 2006, I want to say it was like middle of I'd say end of 2006 into 2007. I was approached at college to be in this student film called All for the Money. And so I said yes, because I was like, this is going to be so cool. I can't wait. I'm so excited to learn and be in this film, et cetera, et cetera. And so I did. And then I want to say it was like maybe mid sophomore year. And I was kind of like worried because I was like, well, we were in this film and then I didn't hear anything about it. Because, you don't like, if you don't know, 99% of films, you film your part, you go home. Like, you're not sticking around usually to see like what the rest of the what the rest of what's happening in the film. I got my script and I had a general idea, but stuff gets cut and edited, et cetera, et cetera. So I was starting to get a little bit worried. And then Dr. Chipman, who was like basically the head of the theater department at my school, was like, here you go. And he hands me a DVD and it just says, like, in Sharpie, it just said All for the Money, or I think it said AFTM on it or something. And I was like, oh, thank God. I was worried. And so I got to watch it and I was like, well, in typical Sherrick fashion, I could have done way better on that, but that's my performance and that's how it is forever now. So that's what's going to live on this DVD. And then you flash forward, roughly 19 years. And I don't remember what I was doing, but all of a sudden I was like, oh, and I like ran to purchase a DVD drive because I was like, you know what? It was something that reminded me that like DVDs don't like last forever. Like, they can degrade and you can like lose data on them. It's like, I mean,
I feel like
you do your
especially
best,
ones that like you made yourself as opposed to like something you
Like,
purchased.
right.
So somebody
this
just
was,
like burned that.
Yeah, someone just burned it onto a disc and I was like, let me get this fucking movie off of this before I'm never able to see it again. Because like, I will say the director of the film, as far as I know, just based on LinkedIn data, is not making films anymore. So like, it would be awkward to just be like, hey man, I still got a copy of the student film that you submitted to a film festival. And I never knew how well it did. But anyway, I showed it to Stephanie and our friends Dustin and Marsha, shout out to them. And I was like, well, what if we talked about this on the podcast, in a rare moment of faux narcissism for me. And then I was like, well, I can show it to Amelia and then Amelia can see it and then we'll all talk about it. So that's what we're doing today. And we brought my lovely wife, Stephanie, on. So it's not just me talking about this film that I was in 19 years ago. And also, I love hearing what she has to say about this kinds of stuff. So Steph is a very trusted opinion on the film front for me. In all seriousness, like, she does hella movies at the Milwaukee Film Festival every year. There are people that I know that are impressed by the numbers that I give out when I say Steph has seen X amount of movies this year. So her opinion comes very highly for me, at least in movies, if not in literally everything else. So that's also why she's here.
That's very sweet.
Well,
I do like movies, but also
find
just
a dorm bathroom to throw up in and scoot down the
specifically a dorm bathroom. I got the reference. Also, we're recording on June 9th, and so I said nice in the show doc, and then Amelia just burst out laughing like maybe like 2 minutes before I hit record, and I went, what happened? And she's like, I now know why it says nice in the document. And I went, oh, got it.
Oh, I don't even see that. But anyway, whatever.
In the name of the document.
Yeah, in the name of the document.
Recorded
okay,
on
okay.
6/9/25 episode. Nice.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So I guess basically I'm gonna do my best to shut the fuck up and really only fill in and let the commentary / retelling, I guess, go. That was my thoughts, but it may become something different. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I think that makes sense. Like, we can kind of recap it and give our thoughts. I feel like I have some questions up top, maybe?
I have so many questions. I didn't even write any of the questions down, but like my whole life is questions.
Because, like, I think, like, there's maybe some during the recap, but just, like, some context, I guess. Like,
okay. As long as you understand that the caveat is like some of these answers may be best guesses because the information has been lost to time.
Gotcha.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
I don't have the script anymore. Like I wouldn't even know where to begin to look for it.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
so,
no,
like,
I wasn't thinking like that kind of thing. I guess it's just like
more general questions, not spoilery questions, because
like more general questions of like, did you know any of these people before they
I
asked
can
you
answer
to
those
be
questions.
in the film? Like, do you know why they asked you or other, like, the people that were in it? Like, just some of that kind of context. And then you said, like, was this for an assignment?
Yeah, so
says,
let
like,
me go on.
That kind of stuff.
So basically I was at least acquainted with everyone in the film except for the director.
Oh, okay.
I think so. The way that I understand, and again, like I said, this is a question that like the answer truly has been lost to time, but like I can fill in 90% of it. I believe what happened is that he was like, I want to make this film, and he went to the theater department on campus because that's where it makes sense to be like, this is where the acting talent is going to be. And so it was that's why Jay Chipman's name is in the credits as a producer, because basically he came to us and was like, hey, do you want to be in this student film? Not together.
Gotcha.
He like Jay approached us separately and was like, hey, do you want to be in this film? I don't, if I remember,
it said in the credits that he produced and did casting, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. So he just picked so everyone in the film except for the director is and Miko, who played the Ivanov, were like acting students.
Okay.
I believe, if I remember correctly, Miko took acting classes, but like he wasn't like on the track to get like a
Gotcha. And Nebraska Wesleyan didn't have a film program, I'm assuming?
Not that I recall, no.
So so theater was like where you'd go for that stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I totally went into it thinking, because like I saw that it was directed and written by the same person, which makes sense for a student film especially. But it wasn't until the end credits that I was like, oh, he only makes like a brief cameo in the movie. Like, I assumed that was like the main dude. It wasn't. And I was like, oh, good for you, dude. So, yeah. Did I have any other questions about that stuff?
I think we asked you like how long do you remember working on this for? Like, do you know how much you shot? Like how often?
I want to say it was like, did I say half a semester? I feel like I said half a semester.
I thought you said like 2 months. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But like also I'm sure you were fitting in around other, like everyone's like schedules and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, we're gonna shoot this day for 4 or 5 hours or whatever.
If I said 2 months before, I guess I would say I trust that. When I said it, I probably was like thinking on it, because like just something to note is that scene towards the end that I'm in, that was like towards the end of that was like close to time to go back home, because like you're coming back like the end of the year, because that's why the room was just so barren. It's because I had like already packed up all shit, basically. If I remember correctly, it was either like that or like it was either end of year or end of semester, either way, because like I could have like basically just like gone home for like a
Well, it
big
had
break or
to have
something like
been
that.
like either some of it had to have been
Mm-hmm.
either in the early part of the school year or the late part of the school year because it was not
Warm, yeah,
winter.
yeah,
And
yes,
I know it's
very true.
Nebraska, not
And yeah,
upper
and for those of
Midwest,
you who
but
don't
still.
know, Nebraska notoriously has a rule that like no building can be taller than City Hall, like Lincoln specifically. I can't speak for the other cities. So like there's not a skyscraper in Lincoln, really. Like there's no real tall building. So when the wind comes down from Canada, it comes through fucking hard because there's nothing to really buffer it.
Yeah.
And so you
I
just
just meant
freeze.
that, like, I
But
think
yes, you're
that,
correct.
like,
You're correct in that regard, yes.
like, winter is still winter, but it's a different beast the farther south you go than here. And there. Anyway, yeah.
Should we get into like what happened in the film and like what's it about and stuff?
Yeah, like, do you wanna, I guess let's start recapping it?
Okay. So the film opens and we immediately see a baby Sherrick, and it brought warmth to my heart.
It was like so jarring to me because like
I know.
It's like years before I met you. And it's years before Steff met you too, I guess, but like
But at the same time he looks a lot closer to when I met him.
Yeah.
Like significantly more similar to like when I met him.
Yeah, and I mean like yeah, you still had the braids and stuff for the first several years I knew you. So it's not like you looked completely different, but it just was like, oh my god, baby.
So he definitely looks younger. He, just for those that don't know, has braids in his hair, and they're about like mid-chest, like longer than his shoulders. But when we met, they were like down his back. Like,
oh, they were even longer.
Yeah.
That I don't have a good
But then like at the beginning of our relationship, they were like, sometimes they were shoulder length, sometimes they were all the way down to his butt. Like they kind of like changed up. But yeah, in the film, they're like mid-chest, which was actually a link that I don't think I ever saw you with. But anyways, he had
very
braids
early
in the
on
film.
in my braid having chapter of my life where I wasn't sure, and then I was like, length is best.
Yeah. And then one other thing that Amelia and I kind of briefly started talking about, and then we stopped ourselves, is that I immediately noticed that in the first scene, there's two men and they both have glasses on, one of them being Sherrick, and the glasses are so small. Which is like...
I didn't even like, I mean, I clocked that you were wearing glasses, but it wasn't, I didn't make a note of it or go, oh my god, those glasses, until I saw the other dude.
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh, tiny glasses. Everyone's wearing
tiny glasses. And then I was like, I really shouldn't shit on these tiny glasses because I had
the tiny glasses. You 100% did. And it's funny because we're sitting here in this call and Amelia and I are both wearing almost the same glasses, which are like chunky black frames. Like,
yeah. Well, mine are
just funny how
mine are tortoise, but
yeah, mine are kind of like slightly marbled as well, but they're not. They're like black marbled. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They're very similar in style, and so it's just funny how like trends change so significantly, even though it feels like some of the clothes in the film are totally in style, which is also like
which like makes me horrified that the tiny glasses are gonna come back. Please don't come back. They were so bad.
I don't know, man.
Those are Lens Crafters glasses from like 2004 or 5, because I was like, I need glasses, and I didn't really get like if you looked at like my yearbook photos, like it's very jarring. So like freshman year, I had very, very short hair, like shorter than what I currently have now. It was like buzz cut short and no glasses. Sophomore year, same. Junior year, slightly longer hair. Senior year, braids, glasses. Like it was like I was a totally different person. You know how like the coming of age stories, like where like the person goes away for like summer vacation, they come back and they've like, and it's you're just like, oh wow,
with huge jugs. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not come back with huge tits, but yes. I did come back.
I just feel like that's usually what it is. Like, it's either the girl goes away and comes back.
I was avoiding it, but yeah, you're right.
Or like a summer tan, but yes.
Or the guy goes away and comes back like muscular, or like super tall, or like or like has like thinned out or gotten muscles or something like that.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay,
so
this
anyway,
one has a lot of plot, so we're gonna try our best to explain what this film is about, but also like the main reason we're here is to like comment on the film, so it's like gonna be a little bit tricky. But so
okay, can I just like make can I ask an off the record question?
Okay, I mean it's on the record, but go on.
Well, I just mean that like we don't have to keep this in, I guess.
Okay.
Because that's a question I have for what I say. Like, how much can I shit on this?
I don't care.
Okay.
Go for it.
Not that it's like all bad. It's not. It's not at all. But I just was like wondering like how seriously.
No, I want y'all to be honest about it, but like
taking all of it.
On one hand, it's like, you know, the majority of people who listen to this probably will never see the film, so like that's an unfortunate thing. But I also don't want you to like glaze. But like to be realistic about it, it's someone's first film, and
100%, yeah. And I have comments about that too, about how like it's
when
very
I say
good
someone,
for a student film, and I don't mean that in a backhanded compliment kind of way.
Sure.
That makes sense.
But also like a lot of us, it was also like, you know, the first major thing that we've acted in, you know, because like we're coming out of high school where we were doing like, you know, high school plays or whatever, but like now it's like, no, do a serious thing, you know, like
it gave me so many warm fuzzies of like just creating for the first time, and like that feeling, and like collaborating.
So, I mean,
like,
yeah, we can keep all this in,
art.
but like for context,
you have that in a way that like I don't, and like probably why I find some of these things cringy is because I also like can't handle myself doing that kind of thing. Like I don't have the I don't have the muscle of like being okay with, I don't know what the right words are, but it's just like I have way too many inhibitions.
Yeah.
Inhibitions? Is that right?
Yeah.
Like
really?
yeah.
Yep.
So just for like just
like I
follow your heart.
I just can't like put myself out there.
Well, that's part of why I wanted you to watch it and listen and
of being like I
get it.
I can't risk making a fool of myself. And I understand I'm not saying that anybody there made a fool of themselves. I'm saying that for me,
you have to like commit. It's very vulnerable. Acting is very
it's very
it's
very vulnerable art.
And for further like the context that I was trying to spit out is that like this would have been in theory, like including my high school acting, like not looking at grade school or anything like that, including my high school acting, this would have been maybe like my 6th or 7th acting thing.
Sure.
Maybe. If not less, because I remember I did like maybe like 3 or 4 plays in high school, and then I did like Big River and like one other thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I lost count. I will be generous or conservative and say this is probably like my 5th ever acting thing first ever behind the camera or in front of a camera.
And so I recognize that like my own secondhand embarrassment isn't even necessarily secondhand because the people on screen aren't embarrassed, if that makes sense.
I'm sure some people on screen were embarrassed
of my own not wanting to be
I get it. It's a student film, and it's also a different time. It's like, what did you say, 2007? Is that what you said?
6 or 7, yeah.
Okay.
I'll say this: 7 at the end.
But that could be like when he edited and put it out. So
right, like when he finished it.
Either way, we're just going to say 2007.
I'll say this real quick though: if anyone that was in the film does hear this and you want to talk about it and like give your opinions, I'm game to hear them.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually had a knee-jerk reaction to contact like 2 of the people that I like know that like would respond to be like, hey, do you remember blah blah blah? And then I had to go, nope, don't, because they maybe don't have a good memory of this. Maybe they think similar to you, maybe they think, oh, that was so cringy, I hated doing it, I never want to see it again. But like
time is so interesting though, because I had the same feeling, like, not that we're gonna go into this, but I just, because of you looking for this, and I like found this old disc of fashion show pictures and I posted them, and I was like, I hope that nobody that's in these pictures is like mad at me for posting these because they like think that it's super cringe. And then I was just like, but also I just like love them. And like there's something about like time that you like lose embarrassment too, whereas like 5 years after it happened, like I feel like some people might have had a different feeling about it. Like
maybe
I also think that there's like nostalgia, like with, you know, almost 20 years behind you, it's just so different. Like you can like look on it fondly.
Oh, absolutely.
Which made me feel old, because when I looked on it, I remember saying, so I've watched it twice, and when we watched it with our friends, I said, I just like, I can tell like all the potential and talent that is there, and I just like, I like feel like happy for them because I'm sure they had like so much fun making this film, and like I could see like the artistic, like the cinematography. There were like shots that I was like, oh, like he wrote certain parts around like shots that he had in his head. I think, like, we don't know unless he reaches out and is like, put me on the podcast, right? But like there were certain parts that I was like, oh, like his like cinematography is like really good. I really enjoy like some of the ways that he like framed certain shots and like just things like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
and I
like yeah,
and I don't think I have anything to say that I would feel bad saying in front of them if they were in front of me. So like when I said like how much can I shit on it, that's me being funny. Like that's me.
Yeah, but I want you to
in a way that's
be real, you know. So okay, I'll go on.
Should I just say what the film is about? Okay, so
yeah, tell me what the film is about, because I'm not 100% sure.
So baby Sherrick is sitting in this office.
That
so
I don't.
It's a kind of a winding plot. Like there's like parts where I was like, is this just like The Departed before The Departed came out? Like, you know, like there's so many films that you could reference of like, is this just this? You know, like, because obviously I'm sure everyone takes inspiration from like films they've seen. It's one of those films where like there's winding plot throughout. It's revealing information to you over time versus like just like a point A to point B film.
Yeah,
so like
there's not a lot of exposition. So
it's
just
gonna be like
into it
as it's revealed to us. So you're sort of just dropped into this scene with Sherrick being interviewed by a guy. So I'm gonna call him interviewing guy. And Sherrick has braids. Everyone's glasses are small. Okay, we've already covered that. And then I wrote, is this scene a commentary on the police industrial complex? I think I meant jail. What did I mean? Prison industrial complex. I wrote police, and that's not what I meant to write. Prison. Is this a commentary on the prison industrial complex? So Sherrick reveals in this interview that he's just gotten out of jail, and he's being interviewed by this mean white guy. And the mean white guy is like, you're garbage, and you can't work at my film company? Okay, this plot point kind of doesn't really come up again in my, like...
It does not.
Perspective, where it's like, he's interviewing him to, like, be on crew for a film. which is like a whole film within a film.
He's working on like an editing firm, so like because he talks about like he's got clients waiting on him to edit films, and I can't.
It's someone like a production company.
So he's some kind of like big, you know, production guy, and he's just like, you're garbage, and you're a felon, and like, why would I hire you? Blah, 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 blah. And Sherrick's character is just like, oh yeah, bet. And like he just has that like knowing look of like, you just said the wrong shit. And then he like makes a phone call. There's a point in the beginning scene where he says the title of the film also. There's a point. Yes. The interviewing guy says like, and I bet you're in this all for the money. And then your character says,
I did not cut. I caught it at the end.
Oh yeah. Towards the end, they say the title of the film like approximately 20 times. But anyway, so it's said at the beginning. And then Sherrick gets on the phone as soon as he gets out of there, and he's like,
"Which I had that phone." Okay, anyway, continue.
Yes, it's a slide up phone. You know, like it looks like a flip phone. Yeah, it looks like a little silver flip phone, but it's a slide up instead of a.
Didn't it flip this way?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yours maybe it was a different because there was one of these.
The slide up one
too.
Was the slide up one was
okay.
I had that too.
Either way, just know that there's so many early aughts phones in this that
yours
you
was like black and silver, and it opened like this.
Oh, it opened like a book. I guess
for those of you who are listening to this,
it was a Virgin mobile phone.
Yes,
anyway,
it's a Virgin mobile phone, and it opens clamshell
really
style.
Early aughts phones in this.
Phones, there was a slide up one.
So
I think there was a flip phone.
Yes,
anyway,
there were flip phones, and then there's different. So he calls someone, and he's like, "Hey, something." I can't even remember what he says, but it's basically just like, "Fuck this guy, let's handle this." And then
like it's clearly like a
this guy's
job.
Gonna get what's coming to him. Like just
like,
wait.
Hey, dude, do you want to?
It's
do a
also
job
important to mention that at the very beginning, there's like in the opening scene, there's mention of Sherrick being in jail for murder, and then
suspected murder.
But then he was suspected because like ultimately they found the guy who actually did it, and that's how he got out. So that's mentioned, just so you know.
Which okay, if that's true, and this is me like bringing probably too much logic to things, but if that was true, that somebody got out because the real perp was caught, wouldn't that be expunged?
I don't know. I think it is different. I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the laws.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe
I don't know.
Sometimes,
You know what? We should have had our friend Elizabeth on.
I know, right? We could go
and maybe it wouldn't be expunged, but it would be like there'd be some caveat. Like it's interesting to me that you would have to list yourself on something as being a felon because you weren't. If you were if you got out for Okay.
But like the whole thing, this is why I wrote the thing about the prison and
the whole time I was
trying to get a job and like you can't get a job. The whole time
I was like
for something you didn't even do and
not knowing what this film was about at all. I literally knew nothing about this film other than its title going in.
Oh yeah, same.
And so and I knew Sherrick was in it. Like literally that's it.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what the tone would be, what the genre was, like any of that. And so like it starts with this interview and so the whole first scene I was like racist. Like this whole thing I was just like this is racist. And like it's not, but that isn't necessarily like the theme of the
it's
the thing.
Less a theme
it
of the film than you would expect based on the opening scene. I agree. Yeah. Okay, so it's 4 months later. We're in a random hotel bedroom. There's goatee guy and a brunette in the bed. She's clearly like they've just, post-coitus, whatever you want to call it. And then she's like, we're not going to do this anymore because I'm getting married.
In a month.
He's upset.
I'm sorry. In 1 month, I am getting married.
Is that what she said? Okay.
Yeah, it was just really odd to me the way that was like, I'm getting married in 1 month.
Well, there was definitely like, oh, we're trying to put the plot in line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of plot for a 40-minute film, I will say. Like,
yeah, it was.
And I enjoyed the plot, and it's a good story, but it's like also a lot to like wrap your head around at the same time.
Yeah.
He says, just trust me, and there's a bunch of gunshots, and it fades into a beautiful word art title sequence, metallic gold letters. And they're exploding
kind of papyrusy,
and stuff.
but not quite.
Yeah, and they're like exploding. It was very of the time.
Yeah.
So for clarification, my character's name was Jackson, but he goes by Jax. Interview guy that Steff called him, his name was James.
Names?
I'm just gonna throw them out there.
Well,
and if I say them, then I don't want people confused. But
I feel like Sherrick's character's name is like not a plot point necessarily, but like
an anecdote. Yeah,
it's a thing. It's more important than anybody else's name. Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
I'll give you that. All right.
In the movie,
just trying to put some respect on the character's name so people don't think we were all playing ourselves, but that's neither here nor there.
The goatee guy in the hotel room's name is Link.
Okay.
I very also like Matrixy feeling, like to me, like the name Link. I don't know. I can't even remember why. I think
his name was Link Lawson.
I know.
And I went, this is right after, I think, Hairspray came out.
Oh.
And the Zac Efron character's name is Link Larkin.
Sure.
And I was like,
I didn't even
for half this film, I was like, why is this guy's name Link Larkin? And then somebody said Lawson, and I was like, oh, that's right, it was Lawson.
I was thinking like I don't know why the Matrix came into my head. Maybe just like the feel of it all. I'm not sure.
I get that, yeah. But also, and you may not know the answer to this question, Sherrick, but like, did this guy have this goatee for the film, or is this a personal choice?
That was like literally the majority of his college career.
That was totally that guy's just.
And you missed this commentary.
Please, dude, I hope you do not have that goatee anymore.
I'm 1,000% sure he still has it, but that's anyway. So you missed this commentary because you weren't here for it.
I would say that to his face. Shave the goatee.
Yeah, but like I knew so many people with that goatee at that time. We knew a lot of people with that goatee. I've went to college with a lot of people with that goatee. Well, not like you get what I mean.
Yeah,
a lot of people at that time with that goatee. It's not good looking back, but I don't know.
I don't think I thought it looked good at the time, but whatever, it's fine.
So you missed this commentary by virtue of just not being in the room when Stephanie and our friends watched it, but that like the majority of the clothes, all ours. Like there wasn't really like a wardrobe situation. The car belongs to Alex. That was his.
Oh, I have a note about the car.
Oh, that makes total sense to me.
Incredible.
Because like everybody, all the cars were like just normal cars for the time except his.
Interesting. I agree with you, but it also felt very like this is the car that I took to college, like at the same time.
But like it worked. I'm not saying that.
But it stuck out in a way that like totally worked. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Like I'm not saying it was intentional.
Yeah, it was convenient for the
symbolic or anything, but it did work for him to have this like older sedan. Yeah.
Okay. So after the opening titles, there's a random Russian guy taking pictures of, are they shipping containers? I don't know why we're doing this. And then he's on the phone, and at the time I wrote other language, but then later they refer to him specifically as Russian. So can you confirm that this guy is supposed to be Russian in this film?
I believe in the film he's supposed to be Russian, yes.
They call him in the film, they say he's a Russian
whatever.
Murder for hire.
Yes.
I almost recorded that like tiny section and sent it to a friend of the podcast, Amber, to ask, is this Russian and is this correct?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Russian?
Yeah.
I did not
Not fluently, but
just like a little
she took Russian in high school.
So
and still can speak some of it.
Was this person Russian?
Actually Russian?
I don't recall Miko's ethnicity, but I know that he knew Russian and he taught it to Tony, who plays James, the guy.
Okay, so he did personally know Russian and speak it in the film.
That is my understanding.
It should be actual Russian.
It should be correct, yes.
So he's the Russian guy in this film. He's a white guy without facial hair. I had to like write these things down because I was, sometimes I get these people confused. So then he's like randomly on the phone, and then he's like, then Sherrick walks up, and then they're talking to each other, and he's like, can I shoot some pics or something like that? And then he reaches into like a hip bag that like should have camera accessories, but it has a gun. And then it's a close-up of his lips saying, bang, bang. And this part of the film was when I was like, I know I'm in for a ride. Like, I don't know what just happened. I don't know why he said bang, bang. I don't know.
Yeah. I was like, what is happening here?
I couldn't tell, like, if we didn't have, like, part of me was like, do we not have a gunshot sound? And I was like, no, this was pretty intentional. That he speaks the words bang, bang.
And there's gunshots throughout the film.
Well, right, but you don't know that yet. So that's, like, my initial thought of it was, like...
Wasn't there gunshots in the hotel?
You're right, there's gunshots before that. So anyway, you're right. We heard gunshots before that, and now they're choosing to, like, have him verbally speak the words. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Then he's, like, on the phone again, and he's like, the job is done. And then they pan over Sherrick's character laying in a pool of blood in a bathtub, dead. And this is the only part about this film that I've heard about our entire relationship. Would you like to tell the listeners why I've heard about this before?
Yeah, so when I found out that I was going to be in this movie and I was allowed to talk about it, I told most people, as one would, including my mother, who seemed to uncharacteristically care. And I'm going to go out here and speculate that it probably had to do with the fact that she thought that, like, my son's going to be a movie star, which, like even then I was like, no, this is just a fun film. It's not like I hope it makes more opportunities for me, but it's not going to become a situation where, like, all of a sudden I'm going to be on the red carpet of the Cannes Film Festival or some shit, like, it wasn't going to lead directly to that, at least not like directly. It could have been a roundabout way to get there. But point being is that when I finally got a hold of it, she begged and pleaded to see it. And then when that scene happens, we had to literally stop for longer than the actual film is because she was throwing a fit over my character being dead as if I was actually dead. We stopped for over an hour because she just she just wanted to pontificate and fall on the floor and talk about how she was so upset. And I'm like,
the way I've heard it is, my baby's dead. That's the way I've always heard it.
I'm literally sitting next to you. I'm clearly not dead. Like, I can understand you be upset about, like, the visual, possibly.
Like,
but
I don't want to see that or whatever. Like,
yes.
I get that. But...
And then, like, it could just be like, can we fast forward past this part? I don't want to see this visual. But, like, to stop for, like, longer than the actual film is for her to compose herself so we could continue is a little ridiculous.
This is what I've heard about the film. Like, I knew that Sherrick was, like, dead in a bathtub in the film. I've also seen a still shot of it.
Yes.
And then I've always heard this story about his mother.
There's also a still shot of me, like, with a big grin and a thumbs up. That was my Facebook profile picture for way too long. It was definitely in poor taste, but I was like, well, it's me, so who cares?
Oh my gosh. Well, I also feel like the sensitivity about that has changed a lot over time too, like culturally. Sure. Like, I could see. Anyway, so I've, like, heard about that before. Okay. Then we're in a scene. Goatee guy is in an open shirt, which I believe one of our friends asked, was that his choice? And I think you said yes, it was his choice.
Mhm.
It was just very much like, here's my chest, you know? And then he receives an envelope. And it's also like they're trying to shoot this. They definitely shot it creatively enough to try to make it look like it wasn't a dorm room. But like other scenes in this film that are also will be set in a dorm room, it's like very obvious that it's in a dorm room. And like I don't know that there's anything that the filmmaker could have done to avoid that. It just has a certain look. It just has a look.
Yeah. Dorm rooms have a certain look, especially dorm rooms from a certain era. Like, and I don't mean when it was shot. I just mean that, like, you know, fucking new dorms look crazy or whatever, but like a lot of the dorms were built in like the 60s.
So it had like a lot of wood. There was like a lot of wood built-ins, like that kind of stuff.
Cinder blocky kind of,
yes, the cinder block. Although I do think the cinder block towards the end of the film, I was like, this was a great like wall scene.
Yeah,
anyway.
that in that case, the dorm worked really, really well.
Yeah.
This part and the part where
anyway,
which girl said that she hired that guy to kill her ex?
You're jumping ahead.
Oh, we'll get there.
Rachel.
The redhead.
Rachel.
Yeah, we'll get there. Never mind.
It's fine. Anyway, okay, so Goatee guy is like shirtless
order.
in his apartment, I'm gonna say. And he receives a manila envelope, which is always great in a film when someone receives a manila envelope. And it has his name on the front, and then he opens it, and it's like full 8x10 color photos of Sherrick's character dead in a bathtub, and it says, "You're next." He then goes and throws up in a very obvious dorm room bathroom.
I think I think that the bathroom is an obvious dorm room bathroom because of the obvious dorm room before that. But if you hadn't seen that, it would just look like a public restroom.
Right, but
because
like,
it's those metal doors.
House, then where is he supposed to be in that bathroom? That's my question.
Right, that's the part that's strange.
Yeah. Anyway,
but like that could be
it could be a mall bathroom. It could be a mall. It could be anywhere.
Yeah.
But it's obviously stalls. Anyway, he throws up. He's deeply distraught. There's sad music. He's crying over pics of Sherrick. Clearly, we are now learning that Goatee Man was friends with Sherrick's character, and he is deeply distraught over receiving this.
Yeah, because there's a picture of the two together.
Yes.
Looking
black
friendly,
and white, which is used quite a bit in this film. This is one of the first times of it being used for like drama and like flashback and just anyway. And then I wrote angry montage. There's a montage of him, which actually I really enjoyed some of the
cinematography.
The way he laid out a lot of the shots, even though I was like, do we need this? But like I actually liked the way it was shot at the same time. I don't know. There is passage of time shown. He was thinking, feeling, grieving, making a plan. Dun dun dun. And then he opens his dorm room desk drawer and pulls out a gun. And then I remembered that Dustin asked you the very astute question, which I never thought about during watching this film, which I believe what he asked you was, how did you get permission to shoot in the dorm with firearms? Because they look pretty real, but I assume that they're prop guns.
They were absolutely prop guns. That's a question that I don't have. I don't have the juice for, unfortunately.
I just remember you saying that like
question.
They definitely had to get permission.
I think they did. I don't know how though. Like I don't know who he talked to or anything like that.
And just like to make sure that like no one that's like in the general vicinity
you can see,
like, is worried, right? Like,
and you can see that like the guns don't have the orange tip on them. Like none of them.
They don't. I know, which is why I'm like.
They look real-ish.
Yeah. But for the most part, they're like in a closed spaces with it.
Right. I was gonna say. I feel like
mostly, not always.
The needing approval for that probably comes more from the fact that like the university is like named in the credits and not just like as a location.
Oh, I would have never thought of that. But that's interesting.
Yeah, because like,
yeah,
then if you watch that and it has their name attached to it, like you'd think that they'd need to know that that was the content of the film.
Yeah,
but I think most of the time it was in closed spaces, and the sounds, like the gunshot sounds,
I think the gunshot sounds were edited in. So I don't think you
Correct.
guys had any blanks or anything in the guns.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so they were just empty.
There was
guns,
one
thankfully.
towards the end that sounded kind of like a staple gun.
Really?
Which I wondered if maybe like in that case they actually did shoot the prop gun, as opposed to like,
I don't know.
If it was me holding it, then the answer is no.
There's just been a lot of what?
I said if it was me holding the gun, then the answer is no.
I don't remember which one it was.
Okay. Anyway.
But I will tell this story real fast and quick. It's very interesting that we bring this up because our college definitely did Lieutenant of Inishmore, which, like, if you're unfamiliar with it, it's incredibly bloody. Like the play requires a lot of fake blood and a lot of like firearms. And so I, for a very long time, did have a blank shell from Lieutenant of Inishmore because we had to get permission to use blank guns, and it was extremely stringent. Like,
really,
I was on tech for that, and I just remember like every day there had to be like a gun check and all that kind of stuff because, like, sure, it's a gun that fires blanks, but like it's still dangerous, you know, and like anyone who isn't aware could end up getting hurt. But I just remember that like the cleanup for that show was like 45 minutes just on cleaning up all the blood off the floor, just that towards the end of the film. Anyway.
I've been in plays with prop guns,
not film.
with blanks in them, multiple, and there was some level of protocols, but not much, honestly. And I think the reason that all of this is like brought up is because of like things that have happened in the film industry, and like it just kind of brings like your eyes to like, is it really necessary? Like, and like how well regulated is it, and things like that. Yeah, I've fired prop guns with blanks in them multiple times. And I think the thing that I remember the most was like being told to wear ear protection, and then they had ear protection for me, like more so than anything else. I mean, I definitely think I was told I think the times that I've shot a prop gun, it was in the air, at least. So, like it was an offstage sound effect, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
I actually have been in shows with it being shown on stage as well. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's interesting to think about like how those things, like the attitude about those things have evolved over time. Okay, so he grabs a gun and he walks out of his room. Then he goes to see a redhead in a motel room. This is goatee guy.
Rachel.
Yep. Her character's name is Rachel. She answers the door and is very flirty the entire time. It feels like she's hitting on him. He's like interrogating her for answers about like what happened to my friend Jax, Sherrick's character.
My read on her was that she's that way with most people.
Yeah, the character, right? Like she's just like
right, like because you're saying that she was flirting with him, which she was, but I feel like it wasn't because
I think it's like
of
her way.
Who he was. That's just how she kind of is.
I think it's how she kind of is, and it's part of her like way of like working in this world with all these men, because like you then hear her on the phone later and like, you know, doing business and this and that. So she finally, you know, after goading him and like kind of teasing him, he then points the gun at her and threatens her and is like, no, like cut the shit, like tell me what's going on. And she admits that like she knows that it was a Russian contract killer, and then it's because she knows this because, and you mentioned it before, she apparently hired this guy to kill her ex-boyfriend. And then there's a cool black and white flashback scene.
Yeah. Which that to me was the scene that it was most obvious that it was a dorm room. So like in my head, for me anyway.
Okay.
So for me, the way that scene played was like, damn, this girl hired a contract killer to kill her ex-boyfriend in the freshman dorms. Like, what the fuck? Like, what did he do to you? You know, like, I again, it's not like a huge plot point, but there was a part of me that was kind of like, even just like a line about why would have helped. Because it
something
felt very...
like it was a bad breakup, or like it didn't go well, or something. It
just felt like very like, whoa.
Yeah, it kind of pushed you into this world of like, this is an action film where like these types of things are said and these types of things happen, and there's contract killer. You know what I mean? Like there's just there's films like that are out in the theaters where I feel like that also happens, where it's just like,
that's true.
This is a world in which these types of things are said and like they just happen, you know, whereas like because you know it's being like shot.
Yeah, like I think my suspension of disbelief, like I couldn't quite.
Correct. It's hard to like get there.
Yeah. But also, pause. I think I found that person who plays Ivanov, and I think he's from Finland.
That sounds correct, now that you say it.
Which Finland borders Russia.
It does? Okay.
Yeah, so it makes sense to me that you would learn Russian, or you, like, maybe not everybody knows Russian, but it makes sense to me that like some people would learn,
or maybe
Russian,
he's like
the way
that
like
side or something.
Some people learn Spanish in the U.S. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I was just curious because I was like,
no, I get it.
Miko, what kind of name is that? And it's Finnish.
Miko, I mean, Miko, I could believe is a Russian name too, like without.
No, it's Finnish.
Yeah, like, no, I know. I'm saying, but like it.
Oh,
like
it could be either.
I could believe that it was.
Yeah.
So.
It could be a shortened for Mikhail or something.
Sure.
Anyway, continue. This was just my curiosity.
No, it's totally fine. There's really cool mirror shots, is what I wrote, which I thought were I liked them.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like basically says that she knows this because of like a signature that this guy puts on the pictures, and she's like, this guy always takes a picture after every hit.
Oh yeah, because he's like,
and then there's a signature after.
How do you know it was?
Yeah.
How do you know it was that guy? And and he pulls the picture out of his pocket.
And like, there's a lot of parts of this film before this where I'm like, what the hell? But like, this was definitely a point where I was like, who is she? How did he know to come to her?
Yeah.
And like, after watching it 2 times, I'm still not sure I know the answer to that question. So like, to me, that's like almost a little bit of a plot hole where I was like, I'm not sure this gets tied up. But Sherrick, you can tell us later if it does.
There's a few things like that where like, for me, I felt like were, like
confusing,
not explained well enough. Not a lot, and
because there is a lot
like,
of explanation
again, it is
at the end. But
and
like,
again, it is
it
is a lot of dropping you in, and you learn as you go. But there were a few things that would have been like that, like how did he know to go to her? Who is she?
Right? Who is she? How does he know her? Like, how did he know like she's the person to ask this question to? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I wrote, he is not interested in her, because she like makes a final like play at him before he leaves, like a final like, if you need anything, and he's just like, I'm good, bye. And then I wrote, my favorite part of the film. This part is like in jest, Amelia, just to be clear. Some of the things that I've said up till now that like I really enjoyed, I actually really enjoyed. This part I really enjoy, and like a cringe, like memeable way. Okay, so there's a beautiful montage. It's very like Born Identity style, like here he is training to be a hitman. He's doing all his workouts that he has to do to be like the best hitman ever, and he's like running up and down stairs, and he's doing like these cool hand moves and like all kinds of stuff. And Sherrick, I think you told me a little bit about this scene.
Yeah. I believe
the guy was like in the military or like in army.
Yeah, I think he had to do like
something.
military service or something before coming, like transferring, or basically, what's the exchange student thing? I don't know exactly like what his situation was, but he had to do some sort of like military service, and so a lot of that was like stuff. When Garrett, if I remember correctly, when Garrett found out that he had like actual military service, he was like, "Oh, we got to get shots of you doing like those exercises and stuff." Like, and just like jogging and running. So that's what that
I feel like someone mentioned like that it was weird that it was on like a football field, but I also didn't think that was that weird, because like people just do that.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not a student, like, people will just, like, go and, like, run random bleachers. Like, to me, that wasn't weird. I don't know.
Right. Running random bleachers, or, like, there was a track, like, using a school's
Yeah,
track.
like, in
the football field
neighborhood
itself was, like, maybe the weirdest part, but, like, even that's not that
yeah,
weird.
to me, it didn't, like, hit me as weird, but anyways. So that montage goes on. The first time I watched it, I felt like it was so long. Like, so excessively long. The second time I watched it, I was like, this is my favorite part. So, Amelia, how did you feel about it?
I thought it was too long.
It's, like, excessive for what it is.
Yeah. I think it would have been a normal length for a full length
like
movie.
A feature length film, yeah.
But, like, for the length of this film, it was a little long. But yeah, to me, yeah, I wrote a note. I was just like, oh, training montage. Oh, Rocky. We're doing Rocky up the stairs.
Oh, sure, Rocky. That's what it is. It's totally Rocky, not Born Identity. But anyway, yeah.
And, like, yes. But also, again, because of my curiosity, military service is mandatory for men in Finland.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just in general for all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
All physically and mentally capable men are obligated to serve for a period of 165, 255, or 347 days. So, and generally at 18.
Okay, well, there you go.
A lot of countries have something like that.
Yeah.
So that's why
then they randomly show the redhead in a bathroom ? And she's on the phone and she, like, tells someone that he was here and he was really sad. That's all I wrote down.
I totally forgot
about that scene. Oh, she was on the phone. She's just like, he was here.
It's like, I think it's a mirror shot, if I remember correctly.
It is a mirror. She's, like, against a mirror or whatever. And so then you're like, wait a second. Who is she telling about this? Because who is she telling this to? Because, like, she just told him who she thought the killer was. So then it's like, is she getting someone onto him? And, like, is she double crossing him? And I was like, shit, you know? Like, I think that's what you're supposed to get out of it. Then there's another phone scene of the Russian guy on the phone, and he says, yeah. At some point he says that $2 million, so, like, clearly this is, like, the amount that's, like, been offered to him for his next hit. And he says, perfect, and cocks his gun. Dun, 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 dun. Then there's, like, music and things. And then this is where we finally can talk about the sick old white caddy. Was it a Cadillac? I don't know, but it was an old car of some sort. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful old car. We talked about it a little bit already. So they show it pull into a parking garage. And then there's, like, some different things of, like, people walking, him walking, whatever. Oh, I hated this part. This was the part that I disliked the most of the whole movie. There's a random blackout screen and two people talking on the phone. And I just was like,
it's James and Anton, if I remember correctly.
Okay. And I just was like, why is the screen black? Like, why weren't they showing it, like, while he was walking or something, like, some, like, scenic, I don't know. It was a choice, an artistic choice of this movie that I did not like, while I liked many others. So then I wrote parking garage shots really good. There were, like, a lot of really cool shots of, like, him. Who was up in the parking garage? I can't remember which guy, but, like,
Link.
The two people in the next scenes is Link, the goatee guy, and
he's in a parking garage.
Hoff, yes, the Russian killer guy. And so they're showing Link watching him, right? So, like, he's after him. They're walking.
Yeah,
they're walking. There's building of suspense.
It's like a
montage
of him, like,
are they walking
him,
the same places? Who's following who? Like, I can't quite tell. But he's definitely targeting the Russian guy.
Yeah, because, like, there's a shot of him, like, looking out a window at Ivanov, like, walking down the street.
Yes, which was one of my favorite shots. It's not a window. It's like he's looking out the
parking garage
of the parking garage. Yeah. Anyway,
I have it up and I'm, like, scrolling through.
So then you see him get on the elevator. Then you see the Russian guy get on the elevator, and then and then boom, there's a punch, and goatee guy punches him in the face.
But it's like punching the camera.
Yes,
like
it's
the
like
shot
like a not a jump scare, but it's like a quick, like, boom, like he got him, you know?
Yeah, but
the music builds. And then we're somewhere outdoors in a parking lot, not a garage, but like a flat lot, and there's grass.
Yeah.
He opens his trunk, and the Russian hitman guy is in his trunk, and he's got like a bloody nose because he just hit him in the face, right?
Mm-hmm. And he points a gun at him.
Yep.
Get out of the trunk.
Incredible jams, I also wrote down, because there was just like this great, like, of the time, like, rock music that was like, shit's really happening now, you know, like, it really, like, paced up, like, we're getting to, like, the part of the movie, like, it almost, like, made me know, like, the climax of the movie is coming, you know?
Mm-hmm. He's
beating up the Russian guy, and he's like, do you know who this is? And he's, like, showing him this picture, and the picture is Sherrick's character, which we haven't seen Sherrick's character now in a little bit, and I'm just like, oh right, my husband's in this movie, like, you know what I mean? Like, I like got so into it, and then I was like, oh that's right, this is the whole reason I'm watching this, is because my husband's in this movie, you know, like.
That's so like, funny, because there was a point where I was like,
is Sherrick in this movie? Like, we were thinking, like,
did he actually die in the bathtub, and that's it? He's not in the rest of the movie?
Right, of course, like, yes. So there's a point where I was like, oh, right, like, we're still, like, this whole point is, like, about Sherrick's character, okay? So then he's like, do you know him? Do you know him? Blah, 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 like, you know what you did. And then the Russian guy's like, no. And then he's like, okay. And he's like, you did do it. I didn't do it, blah, 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 like, that kind of thing. And then he's like, yeah, but, like, I did it all for the money. And then this is, like, from here to the end, the line is said about 10 to 15 more times. So
wow.
Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating.
Now I need to watch and count, because I only noticed it twice at the end.
I don't know. But from here on, this was like the first one of like the end section, and then it's like a couple more times after this. I'm probably exaggerating. It's probably like 5, if I'm being like realistic.
I know that there's like a point where that's like two characters
like right after each other.
Yeah.
So basically he's like, okay, fine, I did do it, but like I was hired to do it. Like you know, I'm not your guy, like I'm just a hired guy, you know?
This is the note I took. Right? This is the note I took about that scene. Yeah, that's what a murder for hire means.
Correct. But like it's also, this scene in the movie is always like, who hired you, right? Like that's ultimately what he's saying.
But he wasn't saying that. He was blaming it.
You're right. He wasn't
on the Russian guy, and was going to kill the Russian guy because he was like, you killed my friend. Why did you kill my friend? And the guy was like, I mean, I did, but I was hired to do it. So like,
yeah, I mean,
it didn't mean anything to me. You want to go after, like, you can be mad at me too. Like, that seems appropriate or whatever, but it was just like, if you want to be mad at the person who wanted him dead, specifically, that's not me, that's somebody else.
Yeah,
and my reaction to that was, that's what a contract killer is, which is what Rachel told you he was. So
you're right. This scene in most action movies is like when they're like, who hired you? And he didn't actually say that. But I do think he was getting to it. At some point during this is where I think he had the phone that was the slide up phone. Because there was a small, like, quick shot of him thumbing his phone in his pocket, which I gotta be honest, is something you can do with flip phones that you just can't do in the same way with touch screens. And like, does this limit our ability to like dial our phone in our pocket? It 100% does.
I mean, yes.
I used to be able to do that. Quick rip off like a T9.
But if you can reach in your phone in your pocket and hit the on-off button, it generally will go to some sort of emergency screen.
But he's not dialing emergency services because he's a hitman. He's dialing, dun dun dun, do you remember me? James, which is the original interview guy who we have not seen since the very first scene of the movie. He's the guy that was interviewing Sherrick for the job on the film, who was like, you're trash, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden he enters the film and he's back. And it's like, oh shit, I forgot this guy was in this film, is how I felt initially. And I was like, that's right. He has really small square glasses. Here's this guy again. So he shows up because...
And a center part.
So yeah, so he hired the like Russian hitman guy, basically. And like, so now you're like, wait, what the fuck? How does this guy tie into it? What does this have to do with everything? My brain. Okay, so then, hold on. I need help with it. See, here's where I'm going to need help.
Okay.
So he says, do you remember me? Oh, he says it. He's saying, do you remember me to Link the goatee guy? And then he's like, you were sleeping with my fiance. And then they show a bunch of beautiful black and white flashbacks of James, the interview guy, and his brunette fiance, who I still don't remember the name of.
Karina.
But
Karina?
Yeah.
With a
okay.
K.
Okay, whatever. So it's the girl that was in bed with Link earlier. And then they show that. They show that, like, he proposed to her, blah, blah, blah. And then they show him finding out about the affair and blah, blah, blah. And then they show him in his car with giant car dice. Like, so big and so fluffy.
Yes.
And so not appropriate for this character, but, like, gave me a small nostalgic, like, happiness in my heart. Because I was like, oh, car dice. You know?
Sure. I don't have nostalgia for those, but...
You don't? I do. No. But, like, I also never had them, but, like, other people did. And, like, also they just don't fit the character, like, at all. But I loved it. So, anyway, just, like, a small little... So they're showing him in his car. He's like, just found out that his fiance is having an affair. And he's like, oh, I'm so sad, blah, blah, blah. And then he hears gunshots. He's like, oh, gunshots. Oh, my God.
Oh, because
so then he goes running to find out if his fiance.
Did you say that he went up to her room and told her to break it off? Okay.
Yes. Well, no, I didn't actually say that, but yes.
Okay.
That is
because he shows up and he's like, break it off with him, and she's like, I will when he gets here, and he's like, he's coming here.
Okay,
and she's like,
this part killed me, Amelia, because I was like, if you followed her to a random motel room. What did you think she was doing there?
I don't know that. This is where I'm not sure if it was supposed to be a random hotel room, or if it was supposed to be her apartment. Like, it looked
like a motel.
It did, but it also...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But, and like, it definitely was, literally, but I think for the purposes of the film, it was supposed to be, like, her apartment.
I did not get that at all, so I was just like, well, why?
Just because of the way
you found her naked in a motel, like, what do you think she's doing here?
Just because of the way that, like, he showed up and was like, he's coming here and whatever.
Right.
I know. Yeah, it felt like it was supposed to be, like, where they live or where she lived or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, she's like, I'll break it off when he gets here. He's on his way or whatever. And
he always comes on Fridays. Like, it's very casual. It's just, like, so random. Like, this conversation.
And, like, my juvenile brain went, he always comes on Friday.
I knew it.
I even wrote it in my notes. He always C-U-M. Because I am 15. Anyway, continue. God.
Okay, so he hears gunshots, and then you see him, like, running, and that's, like, kind of all you see. So he's like, oh,
goatee guy. You see him running out of the room.
We see him running, and you also see James, the guy who was leading the interview, running, because he's like, what just happened up there? Like, could it be my fiance? Could she be hurt? I'm worried. And then it cuts back to present. They show him, so he's, like, now pointing a gun. He has his own gun, James, the interview guy, and he's pointing a gun at Link, our goatee guy. And there's, like, this great shot of, like, the body falling that was done in, like, a really cool way. I liked it anyway. And then there's a black and white montage of Link's character that I found to be unnecessary, personally.
Yeah. Especially because, like, at the beginning, it was fine, but by the end of the montage, it was recalling...
something that happened 2 seconds ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, like, right up to that moment, and that felt like... That felt unnecessary. And it felt like a good bit for a satire. You know what I mean? Like I could see that being in a movie where that's intentionally there to be funny.
Right.
But that's not the vibe here.
I agree. So after this black and white montage, James, the interviewing guy, hands his Russian assassin a briefcase with $2 million, to which I said, for what? Because he just shot him himself. However, I will say, I was going to say he brought him to him, except he didn't, because they got there with him in the trunk. I guess he called him.
That's what the call was about, though.
Yeah, so he paid him for the call, but he also... Did he pay? Well, I don't know. This is where I get confused.
Yeah, so the part that Stephanie was like, there's a conversation that's happening over a black screen was the setup. He was supposed to lure Link and then have him, basically the idea was he was like, I know where Link is going to take you, get captured intentionally, and then call me. That's my cue. And then I'll show up. And he said, I'll do it for $2 million. Basically is what he's like. That's the whole bit, is that like James wants revenge because he knows, as far as he knows, Link is not only responsible for sleeping with his fiance, but he's responsible for his fiance's death.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Because he hears the gunshots and then he sees Link hauling ass out of the...
Correct.
And so he's like, this is how I'm going to get this motherfucker, is I'm going to make him basically chase Anton and think he's in control, and then I'm going to show up.
Okay, so Ivanhoff goes, thank you very much, and then he waits for him to start to walk away, and then he clocks James on the back of the head with his gun, knocking him out. So, he gets his money for his job, and you think that he's, done with it, and then it's like, wait a second, he just got his money and knocked the guy out. What's going on here? And then there's a building that says, keep out on the side. And I think Dustin asked you, Sherrick, was that, edited in? And you were like, no, that was just, a building we found. Which is hysterical because the whole concept of something saying keep out is funny to me because doesn't it attract more attention?
Yeah, but I feel like you do see signs like that all over the place.
I know, but it's weird.
Especially in an industrial area. Yeah.
Anyway, so apparently that was a real building. And then inside that building is actually Sherrick's real life dorm room, is what he told me. That was your dorm room, correct, in this last scene?
Yes.
However,
so this is the room that was packed up that you were talking about at the beginning.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Which I agree is why it looked the best out of the dorm rooms that we saw throughout the film, and it's partially because they shot against the cinder block wall, which did feel industrial.
But also, yes, exactly. It worked for that scene. It would. A dorm room that empty wouldn't have looked good for the other dorm room scenes in the movie where they're living there, where we're supposed to think it's an apartment, but because this is a dude tied to a chair or a dude with a handcuff to a chair, it works. It looks warehousey or
I don't know if it's just because I've been listening to Pod Meets World and or what, but for such a short film, there were so many sets. If this was a movie where you actually got permits and stuff, you would have never been able to afford to pull permits for all of the things that you did. But I think it was just a college movie, so you just kind of did it. You know what I mean? Anyway, it was a lot of places, a lot of scenes, a lot.
Real quick for Amelia's edification, the dorms, the freshman dorms for that are the specific ones that I was in are famously smaller than the cells in the Lincoln County Jail. So that's just a little fun fact for you. I don't know if it's still the case. I don't even know if that dorm is still standing. I haven't been to Lincoln in years, but that's and it could be it could just be a myth, but that's what kind of was spread around. So I was only in there for 1 year.
Well, I know schools in rural areas that are built specifically to become, if needed, a prison if the school shuts down. So,
wow.
And yep.
Anyway,
okay,
go on,
so
Stephanie.
they have James, the original interviewing guy, tied to a chair in this room. And there was a point in both times that I watched this film that I became confused because he doesn't have his glasses on. So to me, I didn't know who he was, which is questionable about myself, and just my ability to recognize faces. But also, I don't know.
I also had that weird feeling, so I don't know what they did. Like, I don't know if something else was at play besides not having glasses on, because he looked different.
Completely different.
But I also think he had less junk in his hair.
Yeah. Well, I think he's supposed to look like roughed up, which I get. But like, this is like, and this happens to me in other movies, not just this film, but where I'm like, if some of your main characters look exactly the same, can you please just try to like do something so that I know which one is which? Because I'm just like, whoo! Anyways. Okay, so it's him. He's tied to a chair. He has no glasses. Interview guy. Oh, yeah, interview guy with the wife. Okay, yep. And then you see feet approaching. Whose feet are approaching? Oh my gosh, it's Sherrick. My husband is in this film. Okay. That's the only reason
I wrote, I am shocked, all caps. Jax was behind this. And I mean that sarcastically.
Exactly. So then we get a black and white flashback again. Okay, so it shows the Russian assassin and Sherrick at the very beginning when he's like, can I shoot you or whatever? Can I shoot some pics or something? And then he says bang bang.
Can I take some shots?
Take some shots. Okay. It shows them staging Sherrick's death and taking the pictures in the bathtub. And it shows Sherrick laying in the bathtub covered in blood, but like then after he takes the shots, it shows him like his eyes moving and then he smiles. It's so creepy. Were you told to smile?
Yeah. Yes,
do you know why?
So the initial reaction that I gave was not big enough, if I remember correctly. Because I think I would have to wager a guess just knowing my brain and knowing who I am, but I can't confirm that this is what I actually did. But I probably just like looked into the camera and gave a smirk and he was like, no, like don't look at the camera, like look around and then smile real big. And I was like, okay.
So I read it as like sort of like a
vindication,
not a like a villain laugh almost, like a like
haha, we got him.
Yes, exactly. Like I read it as like you smiling to Ivanov, like yeah, we did it.
Yeah, we did it. We got the thing. We got these shots. So they're staging his death. Then we're back with the interview guy. So obviously this is like to show that they've just explained like, haha, we did this. I'm not really dead. Look at me. And then you say all for the money. Then there's another flashback. When Goatee Man Link was in the room with the brunette, Karina, whatever. He was supposed to kill her, but he did not want to because he was in it for love. And he fell in love with her. And then Sherrick's character is like, fuck that. We're in this for money. And then they pan away and it's like implied that Jax, Sherrick's character, is the one who actually shot her. I still have questions about this.
Okay.
So they show him running away. Link, the goatee guy, running away, and he's actually running away because he's deeply distraught that you just killed her because he was not planning to do it. He was trying to talk you out of having to do it, but it seems like maybe it was the original plan?
If I remember correctly, that is how it was. The original plan is that we were going to rob him and take care of his ex, I think.
What do you mean? His ex?
Like, his fiance, not his ex. Sorry.
Yeah. So, okay. Anyway, so we'll talk about like the whole plot in a minute. So it's clear at this point that Sherrick's character Jax set all this up to get back at the interview guy from the very beginning when the interview guy told him that he was trash, garbage, something like that, and was like, basically, you're worthless. And then that's
because there's that great moment.
Go ahead.
Because there's this great moment where James keeps calling him Jax, and you get in his face, and you're like, "Oh, it's Jax now. I thought it was trash or something."
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I was like,
that's exactly what it was. You said it correct.
It was really good.
I was like, that was a great line.
It was, and you did it really well too.
Yeah.
So it's clear that this has been the plan all along, and that Sherrick knows Ivanhoff. Like, they know each other, which we didn't know until this moment. And then he says, "Do it." And then he walks out, and there's gunshots. Presumably, the Russian assassin has killed the original.
It's not presumably. You see him holding his stomach,
right.
and he's got blood and everything.
His chest. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only person that you don't see, the only person that you don't see who dies is Karina.
I know. This is why I was confused. Like, up until like after the movie, I'm like, okay, so she really did die because they don't show it. And because they've shown that scene to us with like reveals throughout the way, not showing that she actually does die was confusing for me. Yeah, because I kept thinking.
I think the only reason that it's so vague and is for two reasons. Is one, I think it maybe just was oversight from like, maybe the shot of like seeing her bloody was they couldn't do it because they didn't want to get blood and have to pay for the hotel room or whatever. Right. And two is like that shot is kind of overlapping because you're supposed to believe that Link is the one that shot her. And so then it like brings me back in.
I think it would have been good for there to have been a shot, and I'm not sure where you put it, but like of James finding her dead.
Yes.
Correct.
I would agree with that.
I agree.
Because then you see like his emotional reaction to that.
Correct. I agree completely.
Do they mention that she's dead earlier in the movie? Because I missed it.
Well, they show him shoot her. Well, they show gunshots and him running away, so it's implied.
Okay. Well, I must have missed that the first time.
I mean, they show that scene, I want to say 3 or 4 times with different information. Which I like. Yeah, I like movies that do that.
I missed it the first time. So like I had some questions about motives with different people because
I get it. I totally get it. Okay, so then it says 2 weeks later, they show Sherrick's character walking across what appears to be a park in the coolest cargo jeans that I would like to personally own and wear today. I loved them. I also think you could also pull them off if you still had them today. They looked so
Amelia
cool.
does not feel the same.
No, that's not. No, I just wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting that, and I wasn't expecting the emphatic, I would wear them today. Like, I just wasn't.
You weren't ready for it.
Just the face you made, I was like, no, no ball.
No, I just was not expecting it. And I was just like, wow, okay.
He's wearing like an open short sleeve camp shirt, a tucked in like tank top, a belt, and like these wide leg cargo jeans, and he like walks across apart, and I was just like,
if I recall correctly,
baby Sherrick.
If I recall correctly, that shirt was a double. Sorry, the open shirt was a double XL. And the pants were at least 38 waist. And I definitely had like a 28 or 30 waist in college.
So these were
when I met you,
were your normal clothes.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
100%. Mm-hmm. And when I met him, all of his clothes were too big for him.
Well, I mean, he was a lot of his clothes grew up in the 90s. Like,
correct, exactly. So like it was like the style, and now
Boy
I'm
Meets
like,
World phenomenon.
How people pull these off again? Like that's the thing about fashion that's like mind blowing, Anyway, okay, so he's walking across this park. You see him walk into which I believe is a park
pavilion. Shelter.
Thank you, pavilion thing.
Fun fact, there was absolutely a wasp's nest nearby, and we were terrified, and we had to shoot
100%. There always is. I swear to God, there always is in those rafters.
The right place for a wasp nest, so I get it.
Yeah.
And so then I didn't see any wasps on camera though, which I feel like it could have happened. Okay, so his Russian friend, the hitman, is sitting at the table. He has sunglasses on. What is odd to me about this scene, and I understand why, so you don't need to say it yet, but like, is he never turns around to speak to you. That was strange to me. Then Sherrick's character, Jax, says like, oh, by the way, thanks for framing him to get us out of jail. I wrote this down because I was like, I don't understand who him is, who got framed for these original murders, which apparently we are now being revealed that Sherrick's character Jax, who in the very first scene was like a poor like felon who was not actually a felon who didn't murder anybody, actually did murder someone or multiple people potentially and get himself out of jail is like the reveal. So like at the end we're like finding out that Jax is actually like the evil mastermind basically.
Mm-hmm.
Who did you frame? It's never explained.
It's never explained.
And who is us? Is it you and Link, the goatee
Correct.
guy? Okay.
I believe that was the
not
implication,
completely yes. clear, but it is. That was my best guess.
Yeah, I assumed it was Link and that it was the two of you were in jail for murdering somebody's, and that, yeah, Ivanov framed somebody, got somebody to take the fall for it and get you out.
What would have been really helpful,
but I didn't even think like who's him. Like I just assumed it was somebody we don't know.
Yeah, I did, but I'm okay with not knowing. But like also it would have like I'm not really okay with it, but like whatever. It also would have been really cool if at some point like we saw that picture of the two of them and then he unfolded an edge and it was actually the three of them, because like the three of them were friends.
Like a betrayal situation?
I don't know, just like to show that like all three of them knew each other and were friends, because like it's not really.
All three of them being whom?
Link the goatee guy, Ivanov the Russian hitman, and you.
I mean, again, I don't have the script in front of me. I don't think there was. I think it was a Jax play to get Ivanov involved, to frame, to get them out of jail. I don't think Link was necessarily.
So you think
involved.
He just hired him as like, I heard about this guy and I'll hire him?
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it was they were like friends.
I don't think it was like a trio situation. I think it was like.
Okay, this was unclear to me personally.
I think Jax and Ivanov were closer. Not, I won't say close, but like I think they were close enough to do this whole thing together.
Sure.
But not.
And maybe
I don't think
it was like maybe it was like Ivanov was in prison and they met in prison and then Ivanov got out. You know, one of those like we came up with this plan and then once you were on the outside you could enact this plan.
It's just
me.
At this point it was like for a film that's like revealing for me, I started to lose like, okay, but there's a few things that I still need to know that are like not being revealed. Yeah. And this is one of them. And then he said, you let blanks kill him? So now he's saying, like, this whole thing was a setup. The gun that he brought to the random parking lot was filled with blanks.
No. James, Blanks is the last name of the character James, the interview.
Oh my God. I gotta go.
This is why I was like, this is why the names are important. That's why at the beginning I was like, interview guy is James Blanks. This guy is Link Lawson, because there are mentions in the film.
Okay.
Stephanie literally walked away.
So confusing.
That's why I laughed, because she literally
I had genuinely no idea. And I was like, okay, the gun was loaded with blanks. He loaded the gun with blank. Like, I was so confused. And I was like, but then they show it and it's not close enough to be like, because you can get killed with blanks, but like it wasn't close enough. Like it wasn't point blank range.
Yeah.
Okay, so the guy's name is Blanks.
He's saying you let James kill Link.
Kill him. Okay.
Right? Instead of Ivanov killing.
Yeah. I got it now. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. And the Russian hitman guy is just like, shrug, more money for us. Da-da-da. And it's just like, I mean, that makes sense. Like, if you hire a hitman, like, that's kind of like the vibe, right? And then Sherrick's character says, wrong answer. And then I thought to myself, why is he still backwards, not facing him? It doesn't make sense. But the reason that he's not facing him is so that Sherrick's character, Jax, can then pull up a gun and shoot and kill him. But it's like,
But I
it would
feel
have
like
been a lot
shit
more believable to me if like he had like picked up something or like gone to leave or whatever, than like have the entire scene where they're not speaking to each other's faces. Like that was very odd to me.
That's kind of a common thing, though. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that's like an in-genre thing where like two sneaky characters are like having this sneaky conversation and they don't ever look at each other. I think the fact that it was like in a park made it feel weird. Like if they had been like in the shadows in like a parking garage or something, it wouldn't have felt so weird, I don't think.
Is it like a thing where it's like we don't want people to see that we're speaking to each other?
Yeah, but
okay.
I think so. But I think like again, it's like in the middle of a park. So and there's nobody else around, so it kind of is obvious that they're talking to each other.
I know. I agree. Okay, anyway, so he shoots him in the back of the head. He kills him. He picks up the suitcase, and then I think, whatever, picks up the thing that has all the money in it.
Well, it doesn't matter except for the fact that I wrote down, do you still have that backpack?
It wasn't mine.
It wasn't yours? Oh, it just looked really familiar to me. I don't know why.
It was not mine.
Okay.
In fact, the vehicle that you see several times in the film, that like Jeep, was Garrett's, including in this upcoming shot. So like I think the only cars,
the like Xterra,
mm-hmm,
I think is what it was. I don't know. It was a Nissan because
you're right.
When they're inside, they show the steering wheel and it's real big.
Yep. Okay, so he kills him for the money, and then I thought to myself, it's all for the money. Like, it thought it in my own head and was like, they did a good job of setting up the title of this film because they didn't have to say it that time because I thought it.
Mm-hmm.
So then this, what you call a Jeep, but it's actually like a Nissan, but it's like a Jeep style thing, pulls up, and it's the redhead? And then Sherrick's character gets in the car with her. And then she turns on her car for no reason. This is a shot that's in a lot of films because I think directors like to show the turning of a key for no reason. She didn't turn the car off, so why is she turning it on? Anyway, and then I wrote the song at the end. Oh, the song at the end's like, it's all for the money, money, money. Anyway.
Credits.
How does he know her? Why is she there?
Dedicated to Papa Ronnie.
What?
Said it's credits dedicated to Papa Ronnie.
And who's that?
Papa
I don't remember. I'm not sure who that is. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
It just felt very like with the song and that like dedicated to, because I think it says like Papa and then Ronnie. I think.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like felt like Papa was his nickname. I think is like if I had to guess.
And it just felt very like, I don't know, like 90s rap wars.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
Totally. It was
like, yeah.
And I just left at the end of the film and I was like, wait a second. Who is Rachel? How is she involved? Who does she know? I'm so confused, Sherrick. Can you explain any of this film to me? Because I feel like I've got, because I watched it twice,
film is just
I feel like I got
because
most of it except for who the hell she is.
Yeah, they never explain who she is. I mean, I assume at the end when you get into the car with her that like
you're together.
She's your lady.
Mm-hmm. There was, if I remember correctly, and again, this could be something that like Molly, who played Rachel, could refute or confirm. I don't know. If I remember correctly, there was supposed to be like a kiss moment, but I was extremely nervous about doing that as a thing because I couldn't quite yet separate that in my brain, my little young baby brain, as you so eloquently kind of alluded to. So I was just like scared it was going to be weird or something. So I don't know if it was like I axed it or if Garrett was like, we don't need it, or I don't know.
I assumed that, like she knew about this plan because she was your girlfriend or something. And to me, the question about her is more from the earlier scene.
The broader plot of like
who is she? Yeah, in the broader scheme. And why did Link go to her? Why did he know to go to her? Clearly the phone call in front of the mirror saying like he was just here was to Jax.
No, actually, that was to James.
It's to James, which I realized watching the second time, and then I'm like, now I'm even more confused about who the hell she is. I don't understand that part. I can't figure it out. I can't like wrap my head around how she's supposed to be.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just so to link two things together. Link leaving Rachel's place. Rachel basically tells James he was just here, like you ought to be careful, and he's basically like, thanks for telling me, and that's why she's like, I need to be paid in cash because like you're like I'm not getting involved. But in my opinion, it was kind of like a make sure you pay me in cash because I know that this ends with you fucking dead. Like
right.
That kind of a thing.
But how does James know her? Like, I don't.
Yeah, who she is just a big mystery, and that's a plot hole. My other question is why did I don't really okay, I understand why James wanted Link dead. I understand why you wanted James dead. Jax wanted James dead.
Sure.
I don't understand why James wanted Jax dead.
I don't think that James necessarily. Well,
he does because he hires the Russian hitman and asks for a picture. So you're right.
You're right. You're totally right on
that. Because he sends the manila folder saying you're next. So he does it to get to Link.
But why not just go directly to Link?
I don't know.
It's a good question.
That's the plot hole. And then when you show up, when Jax shows up at the end and is like, remember me? Okay, you didn't say it like that.
God, I hope not. Jesus Christ.
That's my editorializing. Is like you have to spell it out to him who you are.
Correct. I agree.
So it's like why did he hire the Russian guy to kill you? And why did that? Because it almost feels like that plan comes from you to like fake your murder to set this all up, but it also feels like it comes from him hiring the Russian guy to kill Jack.
I
think that part, that's the part that I was like, I don't get it. And then the killing of Karina, I don't really get what the point of that was either.
Yeah, the killing of Karina for me is where I think a lot of the I think it feels like we have to make sure that you know that Jax is the true antagonist of this kind of a situation and he gets away with it. But like I think the implication is that this unassuming Jax character who seems like he's like, oh, I'm first very meek, and he's like, no, it went horribly actually, but he's loaded and I've got a plan, etc. It feels like it's supposed to be like, oh, he's like a 2-bit gangster, kind of like he thinks he's smarter than he is. But I think that the overall like plot of the film is that he actually is smarter than he thinks. Like it's like he sets off all of these dominoes, including taking himself out of the picture so that nobody, air quotes, suspects that he was directly involved.
Right. And so like that makes sense. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. And I think it's because I think it's because of like the I guess the runtime just kind of like ends up being the culprit of a lot of things. Like I'm sure that like if it was made into like a little bit of a longer film, like if we went an hour and such, there would be scenes that could potentially supplement to say like who Rachel is and why she's important and like but I think also like it has to be kind of like, for lack of better words, and I'm not making excuses here, but
like running the bleachers montage though.
Well, which it could have stayed in if you just made the film like 13 minutes longer or whatever. But like, I think a lot of it has to be like a little bit shadowy, because if there are more details filled in, at least during the majority of the film, you start being able to put the pieces together quicker than I think what Garrett wants you to.
Yeah, and I mean, I think like I think having just watched this literally right before recording this, and watching it once, I'm not a thriller writer, so I can't like pick it apart and say they should have done this and this and this and whatever. I don't know how to quote unquote fix these plot holes necessarily. But I will say too, like going back to the beginning of this is like, this is a very convoluted plot over a 40-minute span. And
it's a lot for 40 minutes.
It is dropping you in and revealing things like throughout. And that like for it being like a 20-year-old person or whatever who did this, who created this, like, I guess I'm not surprised, and I'm also not like criticizing that there are some plot holes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think
I still enjoyed it. Yep.
Yeah, it's like, it's enjoyable, and
it's still clever.
Like,
even though it's missing some details, it's still a clever story.
Right, and so like, it's in some ways maybe too bad that he's not doing that anymore, and who knows why. But like,
and he could still be. I just don't know, you know. But like,
right, true. Yeah, we don't know exactly, but like, and again, he could be not doing films because he didn't want to anymore, or whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be because it didn't work out, though that could be the case too. We don't know. But like, it'd be interesting with more experience and whatever, like what kind of plot could have been put together. So
sure, and a budget and a team and a bigger crew and, you know, like all of that. Like,
right. And so like, that's why I say like, I think it's pretty, like, it's really good for a student film. And again, I'm like,
totally,
I don't mean that in a backhanded way. I just like, so of course it's not going to look like a fucking Michael Bay picture. That's not that kind of movie anyway. But
Martin Scorsese. Let's go with that because I feel like I was like trying to put my finger on like the genre.
Yeah, that's true. It is kind of mafioso in a way, but not.
So
also, The Departed came out in 2006.
I know. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page right now. Here's the thing: the plot of this film is not similar to The Departed at all. The plot is not similar. What's similar is like the tone and like the double crossing and like the and then this person's dead, and then this person's dead, and then this person's dead, and like the weaving and the bobbing, right? But like the story overall is not the same.
No,
but it has that sort of feel to it. So, but like it came out in October, like late September of 2006. So I don't know. You might have already been working on this. So I'm not trying to say that like.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't trying to say that.
I think he was already working on this before this came out, but it's just.
And again, like going back to you talking about how like things influence other things, like that's true of everything, right? Like,
oh yeah,
I mean,
apparently it's a remake of a 2002 Hong Kong film called Internal Affairs.
Yeah, and like not there's a joke in. Is it a joke? It's either a joke in South Park or Family Guy. I can't remember. That everything has been done on The Simpsons, and everything had been done before The Simpsons.
Simpsons
like,
did it.
Oh,
Simpsons
totally.
did it.
Yeah, and so it's like this idea that like there are no completely, totally,
like
100% original ideas, and like we can argue what that means, but most things reference something, even tangentially. So it's when you like directly rip off that it's a problem.
Correct. Yeah.
And I will say that like rewatching this, I was very like, damn, I wish that I had like the time and the energy and like the people around to just like not remake this film or reimagine it necessarily, but to make something around this runtime and just like see how well I could do it, you know? Because like he had a pretty decent camera for the time. Like he had an over the shoulder kind of like camera he was utilizing. for the time. And like, I want to say maybe like 10, 15 locations max. And like,
it was a lot of locations, actually. I think for a short film, it's a lot of locations.
And like, 8 people, including like an impromptu like Chase bank worker that he was just like, hey, is it all right if you go in this film? And like, didn't get his name because he's credited literally as Chase worker. Like,
it says like Chase worker himself.
Yeah.
I don't even remember like what
seven students and a random person is. I mean, it's pretty interesting. That's all I'm trying to say. As far as that's
it definitely is.
It definitely is. And like
I said, I got invested into it enough to like forget like why I was watching this was because like you're in it. You know what I mean? Like,
and I will say like I got invested in the plot, like figuring out the plot, but I could have done with. And again, this is where like I don't have a suggestion necessarily, but I could have done with something in the beginning to get me like a little more invested in these characters.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but I just like there's a point in the middle where I was like, I don't know who these people are or why I should care.
Yep. I get that.
About them as people. Like, I care about the plot and figuring out the plot.
That's fair.
But again, like, character development is difficult at the best of times.
Especially with only 40 minutes to
100%, and that many characters and what so
I love that we have at least been talking for 2 hours, which is way longer than this film.
So long. We've been talking for so long.
No, overall I liked it. It was a little cringy for me at times, but I already said like that has more to do with me than anything. I thought that of the acting, I thought, and I'm not saying this because you're my close personal friend, but I thought your acting was probably like the best.
It was by far the best, and I agree. And I'm not saying that as your wife either. I was like, oh, I get why Sherrick's like an actor.
That's very kind, and I think what was very interesting is that like I think either Dustin or Marsha pointed out that like and Steff can co-sign this statement, like, and I think you can too, Amelia. I do not like watching my own shit. Like even going back and watching back like a VOD that I had done, I'm like, nope, it's too much. I don't like my voice, et cetera, et cetera. And like I have seen this movie at least 5 times, and like it's been at least 3 times in the last month and a half, because I had to go back and I basically what I did is I went back and I ripped it off of the disc, and then I cut it into chapters, because that's one thing is that like I would have loved if it was like on a DVD in chapters, but because on the DVD that I was given, it's just one file, it just plays right away. And if someone's like, oh wait, go back to the montage, it's like, well, I gotta surf through it. So I've at least seen it a couple of times, and I don't get that vibe from it. Like it doesn't hit me like, you
aren't embarrassed. You don't
like,
feel like
I don't get that secondhand embarrassment that I would normally get from my content. And I think that is what is inspiring to me, is like chasing that feeling of, let me put out something where I can watch it back and not go, I hated that. Like I gotta walk away, like.
I also like not to, I don't say this to try to downplay it, because I don't think it needs to be, but I wonder if time has a little bit to do with that too, because like I could see watching something back that you did in the last like few years or whatever, and like remembering choices and remembering very specific like things, that's just
I would counter that by saying Steff after the movie was like, hey, I think this disc is there and there's another disc in there. And I went and grabbed the discs that she was talking about, and it was her senior, like her fashion show. And it was Hair at Sunset Playhouse. And I was like, don't make me watch that. Which is not as old, but it is, at least 14 years old, 15 years old coming up on. And I was like, no, don't make me rewatch that. Like, I don't know I don't think it's a time thing, because like I definitely I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's a time thing, because I definitely would not want to go back and watch any of the 3 versions of Hair that I was in. Like it's just I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a play thing. Maybe it's because it was, I don't know. But I will ask, like, what is a moment that you saw that you felt like you had that like cringe moment? I'm curious to know. You won't offend me, but like
of yours?
No, just in general.
No.
Just in general. But I mean, you can pick on me if you want, because I'm here. So
I don't think there was a moment. Like, to me, the only thing about watching you that felt cringe to me was just like, oh, you're a little baby. You know, like, it just felt like tiny Sherrick. I've never seen tiny Sherrick before. And you weren't tiny. I mean,
I was in comparison to now. Yeah, I was like looking. I was like, my arms are noodles.
Well, okay, but like you were probably the same height or close.
Close,
like
sure.
It's not like I saw you as like literally tiny.
Oh yeah, literally shorter. Yeah, okay.
Or whatever. But like just baby face, like just so much younger.
You are.
So that, like, there was something, like, very cute and adorable about it, but also, like, this is weird. But otherwise, I can't think of anything, really, that I thought was cringe. And I think, again, sometimes my cringe reaction is more of a, like, it's more my own shit of, like, being, like, oh, this feels weird to me. I think for me, like, one of the cringiest parts was the Link montage of being upset that his friend was dead.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Fair.
Yeah.
Interesting. I get it. I think it's fair, but it wouldn't be like
it just was so melodramatic to me.
But that's also me. I love a melodrama.
But you love a melodramatic moment. And I
was like, ooh, the art.
I tend to like a melodramatic moment in a comedic way. Like, we're playing this big to be funny. And so, like, there was a part of me that was like, the way that, like, he slid down the bathroom stall door, and like there was like this. The cinematography was cool, but also melodramatic. Like, there was this
for sure. It is.
Stop jerkiness, overlayness of it. I don't know, because I don't know how to describe things. But and then like him coming back to his room and being like, oh, and like fake crying.
I mean, it could have been like a Linkin Park music video.
Right.
You know what I mean?
100%. 100%. And so, like, that was a moment. I'm trying to think. There was, like, a couple other moments where I, like, laughed when I knew I shouldn't laugh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. For me, the very opening scene, and sometimes I think it's because you have to, like, get into the tone of something, like, and, like, get used to, like, oh, I'm watching something that's, like, almost 20 years old, like, it's gonna look like that. Like, you have to, like, get into it. So the opening scene for me was very much like that. But, like, when he's, like, yelling at your character and, like, telling you that you're garbage trash, and I was just like, okay, there was, like, not a lot of nuance in the way that it was written. Like, it was just very direct and blunt, and I was just like, who would really say this to somebody, like, in these words? Maybe in, like, a more...
To me, it wasn't so much the words, it was the way they were said. It felt very reading a script. Like, there were moments of overacting.
Can I stop you just to pull back the curtain a little bit? His script was on the screen for that sentence, for that segment.
Yep.
I also think
I don't know if you can see it because the quality obviously has changed such. But I remember when I watched it initially, I was like, you can see his screen. You can see the screen in his glasses, and that's the script right there.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
And I came in,
I could
if
see,
I remember
like,
correctly,
reflections
off
in
book.
both of your glasses, but I didn't, like, really clue into what either of
them were,
and I
mean, like, if there was a document, like a Word document or whatever, a PDF document, like, reflecting his glasses, I wouldn't have necessarily been like, oh, that's a script.
Right.
But
Right.
For me, it was more the way that he said it. It just didn't feel very smooth.
Yeah.
Rehearsed. Whatever. So there were some moments like that for me of like people sort of overacting, maybe.
Okay. Well, is there another moment, Steff, for you that you wanted to call out or talk about or anything to that effect?
No.
All right. Steff's like, nah, I'm good. Cool. Well, I think unless there's anything else you want to say, Amelia, I want to cut you off. I feel like I did.
No, I mean, I enjoyed it, and like I said, I thought you were really good in it, and yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, this is normally the part where I would be able to say like, hey, if you have thoughts about this, then let us know. But you can't see the film, unfortunately, because I don't have distribution rights on it. So I was like, I feel like it's okay if I show my friends, but I can't. I'm not going to put it online unless I like get a hold of Garrett, which like I think the only way that I could was on LinkedIn, and as of this recording, have not gotten a response to
you did
friend
reach
request.
out. Okay.
So,
well, I feel like sharing it with like literally other than sharing it with me, I think you've like it's only been in the privacy of your home. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So like, you know, like the like FBI warning that comes up on movies at the beginning or whatever, that's like for private home use only or whatever the hell it says. That's all you've done. So
yeah. So I mean, if I ever hear back and he's cool with me putting it up, then maybe that will change things. But as it stands right now, can't put it. I don't want to risk it putting it up anywhere.
No,
so
for sure.
For now, it will stay hidden. But I guess I didn't make up a theme song for it. So this is Amelia and Stephanie. What the fuck is this?
Woo!
So we're transitioning, clean and clear and under control. I love that. Like my joke only lands for you, and Stephanie's gonna be like, "Wait, what?" But anyway, this
attention.
She was definitely looking somewhere else.
I'm pulling up the clip.
Oh, okay. Anyway, just roll the clip. Just watch the clip.
Okay.
Roll the clip. Oh no. Wait.
I don't know what to say about this.
I don't either.
It is a busty girl with her like half a top on. And she's lip syncing to the Black Eyed Peas. I'ma be. And it says the caption is how it feels being 30 American years old on TikTok. And she's like lip syncing in a very go ahead. What?
I don't think this is the intention of this, but I feel like how it feels being 30 American years old on TikTok isn't about her lip syncing. It's about your reaction to her.
Explain it to me.
Because you just went, this busty girl wearing half a top, and you just sound like 30 isn't a good number. It should say like in this case it should say like 45 or 50. Because you just sound like an old mom. Like this busty girl with half a top.
She's literally wearing a bra and like sleeves.
Is she? Is that a bra?
It's just a bra, and then there's sleeves over top. I'm so old.
But yeah, I don't understand at all what.
Okay, so what you need to know about Dillweed is that she is known for doing a lot of like what the younger audiences would call cursed like voiceover work. So like she does a lot of just like cringe content, like it's intentionally cringe. And so I think part of it also is that like she is like staring mostly unblinking
Correct.
in a very
Her
white
face-
way, like lip syncing this Black Eyed Peas song, which like they have not been like culturally
Right, it's an
relevant for
old
quite a
song.
while. So
Right.
it's kind of like I am old and white, like kind of, but also, yes, I think it's like a double entendre of also like
Like, what is this?
basically how Stephanie reacted was
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, again, I'm not
really
saying
doesn't
30-year-olds are like that, but like, yeah, no, she's creepy. I don't like her.
It's because she doesn't blink. That's why.
Mm.
That's why I thought she was
I'm also having the middle-aged lady reaction to her too. But
so funny.
I just love that, like, you were calling out like her like top or bra or whatever and being busty because, like, I don't know. It's just funny to me.
Just know that sometime soon there will be another Dillweed clip, because now I need everyone to know. If you don't already know,
I need to know if her eyes close.
They do.
I'm sure they do.
I'll at some point. It won't be the next episode, but it'll be sometime soon. You will see possibly her most famous clip. So
okay,
I'll just say that.
I mean, I think this was it was good that Steff was here for this, because I think that if it was just me and you'd sent that clip, I would just been like, okay.
I know. I had, truth be told, I had a clip that I was going to play, but then I went, Amelia has probably seen this clip. And then I went, I know a clip Amelia has absolutely not seen. And that is, above all, my goal is to make sure that a clip that you have not seen is played in this segment.
Yeah. And I don't have the stats, but I would say at least 90-95% of the time you have. Like, I think only once or twice.
I think it hasn't happened.
Maybe 3 times.
It hasn't happened since before we moved. So
yeah, probably.
at least the last 3 years.
I know it's happened a couple of times, but it really has only happened a couple of times. So that's pretty good. And I'm on social media less and less and less these days. So unless it's a clip from Dimension 20, I probably haven't seen it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that will not be what I'll be playing. But yeah, I'm actually going to go right now to make sure that I download the clip that she is most known for on TikTok, because I want to make sure that I've got it handy. But yeah, Steff, why don't you promote the Instagram of our dog, because I know you don't want people to find you.
Yeah. Our dog is at Blue Has Got a Clue on Instagram, and I post a lot of cute pictures and videos of her and just her living her best life and being real cute.
Yep.
And Amelia, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me at Shake Meets World and at Fuck the Perfect Life, even though I haven't posted either in a very long time.
Do you know that you have started to kind of say it the way that I've been saying it?
I did it this time for sure.
Okay.
And that was not unconscious. That was
someone that has begun listening to the podcast recently. They know who they are. Had a conversation with me today, and they made a reference, and they were like, "The way Amelia says it sounds like this," and I was like, "I would be shocked if Amelia has heard this song that you are referencing."
Oh no, I know that I sometimes mimic the way that you say it, and I know that it's a reference to something.
It's the way I say it is a reference to Nelly's Country Grammar, but the way that you have like said it apparently sounds like Nerds Rolling 'em Sevens. So like, and I was like, I don't think Amelia has ever heard that song. Exactly. I was like, I'm glad to have confirmed that.
Country Grammar.
Right. Mm-hmm. I gotta figure out what part we're talking about. That will be everyone.
If you look up the lyrics, you'll get it.
What's the other song?
Rolling them sevens. I'll message you so you can look it up proper.
Okay.
but I believe it's by Nerd. Let me double check that though.
Oh yeah, Andre 3000 and
2000
Nerd.
is in it, yeah.
Okay, well, we've gone on long enough. Where can we find you, Sherrick?
You can find me at ablacksparrow.com on Blue Sky. You can also find me at Ablacksparrow on most socials. Apparently, that Caucasity clip on TikTok, I don't know if because you said you haven't been on socials lately, Amelia. So I played Home Safety Hotline last year sometime, and the voice actor that voices a lot of characters in that game duetted me, and so now that clip is like it's not going viral, but it definitely is getting attention. And so a lot of people are coming and I'm getting a lot of so and so has followed you, so and so has added this to favorites, and I'm like, it's too bad that I'm never doing content like that again. Because I can only play through that game once. I can't replay it, but yeah, so you can find me at Ablacksparrow on TikTok. I mostly just am posting my schedules. You will be able to find me in person at Gen Con in August, late July, early August. I have my panels and all that stuff are up, and then I'll be at PAX Unplugged later in the year. Otherwise, you can find me playing my Nintendo Switch 2, because that's going to be a big fun time for me. But Blue Sky, and then I got a bunch of games coming up that I tried my best to announce when they're actually happening. So that's cool. So that is what I have to say about that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, sorry if we talked too long.
Yeah, we definitely hit the limit on your voicemail. So next time we'll talk about how awkward it is that your best friend referred to someone that they introduced you to as your coworker. Bye.
Bye.